The truth is, this dress was one of the last dresses I made before me and my boyfriend broke up. He took me to Cyprus for this wedding and to meet his family, and this is what I came up with. We're really putting the diary into sewing diaries for this one. So the way I made this dress is I actually just cloned an existing dress I had, since I only had about 2 days to get everything finished. It is black though, and black is obviously for funerals. Little did I know though there would be the death of something, my relationship. First I draped onto the stand while wearing the dress. This is so that I could measure whilst I measured the mannequin and make sure everything was kind of the same. There are other ways you can clone clothing, but for this particular style, I thought this would be the easiest. After I had all of the individual pieces, I just put them into the scanner for my computer so that I could digitize the pattern. I do it this way 90% of the time now, simply because being at the age that I am, hunching over a table is simply something I don't feel like I can continue to do without causing some serious damage. I didn't make a 12 for this, but if I wasn't cloning, I definitely would. I was just really trying to keep an eye out on the time, since I wanted to allocate most of it to getting the garment well sewn neatly. And that's why you see me hand tacking the lining and the outer fabric here before I went in to shear it. The way I constructed the front is the 3 pieces are actually separate, and then I turned them inside out so that all of the edges touching the lace are already encased, and then the lace itself is just like an applique that bridges the gap between the pieces. I've made a grave error. I wanted to make a sheared panel, but it shrunk. That's what the piece is supposed to be, and it's like shrunk and a whole centimeter. I didn't end up redoing it. I just made the piece next to it a little bit smaller. Also, the order of operations for this dress was kind of difficult to work out, so I did have to put in the zip first before I attached the skirt. The top is done. Today's literally my last day to get this finished, so we do have to get it moving, and it looks pretty good. I think it's a little bit too tight technically, but with the skirt it should be fine, and it fits super well. After doing the top, I really didn't have a plan. I knew that my fabric was going to be very limited. I measured the original skirt first because I didn't really want to compromise too much on the length, but you'll see later on how I ended up with the skirt accidentally a little bit too short. But yeah, I started with that, and then I placed that measurement on the fabric that I had to kind of see where I can get the most out of it. I was also trying to avoid the brown parts of the print at the very bottom, as you can see in this clip. It was giving muddy, and I was like, don't really know if I want to look like I've been running through the mud. Here I'm folding it 4 times so I could get both a front and a back cut at the same time and on the fold so that they're symmetrical. If you were to pattern draft this skirt accurately, the front and the back should have slight differences, but with this kind of skirt and with the gathers, tiny inaccuracies kind of just blend into the gathers and go unnoticed, and I wanted to prioritize the time. So the lesson here today is, if you spot a man with a red flag, just put some gathers in that red flag. You'll never even know that it was a flag to begin with. I roughly draped this onto the stand whilst putting the already made top on, just to get a visual of what it is going to look like. I did have a little bit more of fabric, and I was determined to squeeze every drop of usable space that I could from it. So I cut out 3 godets, 2 to go on the side seams and 1 to go on the center back. I then proceeded to use these pieces to cut out the lining pieces, which was made out of a silk crepe. I know it's so overkill, but I am in a process of really trying to clear out all of the fabric I have, and this was the only one that was appropriate. I don't think the outer fabric is even made out of anything other than cotton. I did do a little hack on the center back lining seam. I used the selvage right on that edge so that I wouldn't have to finish it. All of the other seams in the skirt though, I did do a French seam, including the godets, and honestly that's where all of the time went. I've gotten so much better at sewing godets into French seams. This is the back. Look how neat it is. Yay! Now we are on the home stretch. I just had a few more seams to finish and also to gather the top of the skirt, as well as sewing it into the bodice and then putting the rest of the zip in. Now that I'm voiceovering this, that does sound like a lot, which would explain why I didn't sleep at all the night before the flight. This is where I kind of fucked up with the length. I tried to get it all even, and this is the way you're supposed to do it, even though this is looking not very professional. I'm hitting all the poses, but the back was actually slightly longer than the front, and I should have just left it because it looks fine if the back is a little bit longer, but I wanted to make it all the same length, and this is where my perfectionism just goes a little bit too far because I probably lost a good 5 centimeters cutting it. Yeah, it was super late and I should have just left it and hemmed it and gone to bed. Ugh, we live and we learn. To hem it, I just did a very simple rolled hem, and then that was it. It was done. This is what the final dress looks like. I think it turned out really cute considering the time restraints and all of that jazz. But is it also kind of cursed now, given the events and the original purpose of this dress? Do I keep it in my wardrobe as kind of a memory, and then I just go through life making new dresses for new life events until the day that I die, and then my kids have an estate sale and all of these memories are woven into the clothing and they are either blessed or cursed with them and it gets passed on to the next person? Or do I just sell it now because none of that is real? Okay, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you anyone who's gotten this far, and I'll see you next time.